Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste, welcome everyone to Satsang today. Satguru Shri Muji Baba Ki Jai. This morning I felt I lost my phone. Why? Because first time I'm wearing this kurta, so I'm not used to the pockets of this one. Kept looking for it in my trousers, on my bed, everywhere. I lost my phone. Where was it? It's always here. Just I was looking for it in the wrong place. So this is the same thing. We're trying to find ourselves. We feel like I'm lost. It's not that you are lost, but that you are looking for yourself in the wrong place. Yourself is here. Where are you looking for it? The seeker means someone who's looking for the self, presumably. Looking for God, looking for Guru, looking for self, same thing. So all the sages are ever trying to tell you is this. You are the self. We are looking for it in the wrong place. Can you find that which is eternal completely in the realm of that which is ephemeral? Of course, even that which comes and goes is also the self. But that is like the flowing river. It is the ever-changing flowing river. You're looking for that which is the stable substratum. You're looking for that which is beyond birth and death. That which does not have fear or desire. I feel like all of us have enough experience now to be able to say that everything which is perceived is changing. Everyone can admit that by now. Everything that is perceived is changing. So, on this side of perception, you will not find it. You're looking for that which is eternal, isn't it? That which is not ephemeral, that which is not changing. So this side we've checked. Like me looking for my phone, I checked in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the living room, everywhere. So we checked everything on this side. We saw that everything here is changing. Everything here is changing. Now, what else is left to look? What about on this side? Who is there on that side of perception? On this side of perception is all of this world and all of its objects and feelings and emotions and sensations and everything that is perceived. On the other side of perception, who is there? Yeah? The one who is looking. Is that changing or unchanging? Unchanging. What is the relationship of this one who is looking and you? It is you. Is there any other you? Okay. This was rapid progress. End of Satsang. Bye-bye. So she says, the one who is looking is on that side. Is that changing or unchanging? She said, unchanging. I said, who is that one? She said, it is me. I said, is there another one of you? She says, no. Finished. You said I'm looking for the unchanging self. You found it. Now don't make anything a thing. And especially for you, don't make that you're making something a thing a thing. Is it? It's a subtle thing. Because I say don't make anything a thing, then you can feel like, oh, Father, but I'm making that thing a thing. But I can see what is troubling you more than that thing itself is that thing that you're making it a thing. You know what I'm saying? So that is also not a thing because it is gone. Nothing has survived this moment unless you make it a thing again. And you know, some of you are new, so you might not know what I'm talking about. I mean that don't make anything a conclusion. Don't make anything something, a belief, something that has meaning for you. The truth has meaning. The truth has meaning. But this meaning does not need a concept. This is the only meaningful. But it is beyond all concept, beyond even all perception. You see, because we just checked. We saw that I am on this side of perception, and I am the unchanging one. And not only am I the unchanging one, I am empty of all qualities and attributes. You see? That is why another name for me is no thing. I am that no thing, which is the eternal witness of all things. That is why I am not nothing, because nothing cannot witness. I am no thing, which is the eternal witness of all things. And I myself, in my original state, am empty of all qualities and attributes. And therefore, nothing that has qualities and attributes has any meaning in reality for me. This is the self, never enhanced nor diminished by anything, completely empty of all attributes, neither big nor small, neither old nor young. Nothing we can truly say about it. So when I say don't make anything a thing, you see, or forget about it. This is yourself. Forget about everything else. Then you might say, but how do I forget? It seems so real sometimes. It seems so important, so meaningful. And for this, the sages have given us two important tools. Two important thorns to remove these embedded thorns. If you see that you're empty right now and there's nothing to be done, then no tools also needed, nothing. But when it seems like, no, but this is important, this is meaningful, this I have to take a stand, make a conclusion, or you're completely open, including open to whatever action might be appearing from here. So this is what I'm talking about. The two main tools. The first one is surrender, which means that to which you feel that you are devoted to. Could be God, the Sadguru, could be the embodiment of the Master. You can surrender all to this. So, this is happening to me, this is not happening for me, I'm finding freedom, I'm not finding freedom. What about this relationship? What about my money? All of this has the non-existent me at the center of it. And that is why it is worth giving up, because it is about nobody. So it is worth giving up. And the way to give it up is to say, it is my father's problem. It is the Sadguru's problem. In fact, better than saying that it is a problem is to say, it is my father's grace. It is the Sadguru's grace. But if we don't feel like this has integrity for us, it just feels like some sort of make-believe, just feel good, something. Then we can inquire into it and check. Whatever position you might be taking about yourself, you will find that it is not true in reality about what you are. You see? The other day, Karuna asked me, so what does it mean to be open? I said, openness is to not make a conclusion. That's it. So I said, then try it. So in the path of surrender, it is all conclusions are surrendered at the Sadguru's feet. And in the path of inquiry, all conclusions are inquired into and seen that they belong to nobody. That is why it is so beautiful as we recognize what we are. I like very much how we just checked so simply this morning. We recognize that I am that unchanging one with no qualities or attributes. There is no other me. This recognition is very helpful because when the mind comes with the story of the limited you, it is not bought so easily. And the other way also, as you surrender or you inquire into these stories, it becomes so straightforward, this recognition. There's so much space for this recognition. That is why it is a beautiful, virtuous cycle in this phenomenal play. So let's check once again very slowly. Have we seen by now that everything in the realm of perception is changing? Therefore, to expect any sort of stability from that which is changing is like expecting that the river should stand still and I step in it. That is a pure folly. Makes no sense. That much is clear. And we also see that everything at all levels of perception is subject to time, is subject to change. So this is to look for the timeless, to look for the eternal, that which is subject to change itself is ignorance. So where must I look for that eternal self? Where must I look? I must look at that or for that which itself is looking on the other side of perception. So I found that everything on this side of perception is subject to time, is subject to change. Therefore, I must look at that looking itself. Where am I looking from? Who is the one that is aware? Then we find that this is I, the self. But it itself is empty of anything perceivable. This is the most beautiful discovery. That which is unperceivable and yet it is recognized. There is nothing else like this. Everything else needs perception for recognition. But the self is unperceivable yet recognized. You recognize this qualityless, attributeless awareness. This is your original self. You find that everything else is also yourself, the dynamic aspect. But everything else is coming and going. But your true self, your original self, is unchanging. Then you also recognize that in your dynamic aspect, you have the power to pretend as if you are something other than this self. This power to pretend as if I am something else is the power of belief. As you let go of all this baggage of beliefs, pretense of ego is left behind. And all this is completely true about you now. Father, does complete freedom from all conditioning only happen through grace or through self-effort? Please explain the balance between effort to be aware, to engage in honest self-inquiry and let go of conditioning. So the balance between all of this and grace. Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi was asked this exact same question maybe 100 years ago. And he said that as long as it feels like you have a choice, as long as it feels in your heart that you do have a choice, then you must make the choice to let go of this stream of thoughts. So whether it is surrender or self-inquiry, if it feels like a choice that a you can make, then you must make that choice. Till one day you see that all of this choice making was also just grace. If it feels like the habit of the me, the habit of the ego, the habit of picking up the ego is too strong, it feels like in this very moment, I can't help it. I have to pick up the pretense of personhood. So this personhood is just made up of this idea of duality, concept of doership, and the desires of this non-existent person. If you believe yourself to be a limited one, then just a conceptual Advaita will not help. Just the concept of over time always free, but if the perspective is always from a limitation, then it doesn't really help. Then it is better to inquire into what is the reality, who am I? Then you will find that actually all of this, because there never has been a me, there never has been a me. It is not that we get rid of an actual person or get rid of an actual ego. We just see that it was never there. You see? You see that there never was this entity called ego. Then we see that all of this was just the will of consciousness, the play of delusion. And stepping out from the play of delusion was also just the will of consciousness. Then we see that everything has always been grace. You see? Now, what is the other approach that sometimes we can take in Advaita? Let's look at that a little closely because many fall into this sort of trap. You can just have the sense, my master said that everything is grace, so I'm just going to sit around. You see? I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit around. But that sitting around is also a doing, which you're presuming that you are doing, you see, as an individual. You see? So you're not really seeing that all is grace. You're still taking a position that I'm going to become now anti-inquiry or something like that. I'm just going to. You see? But that is also a position. That is also a doing. We're still converting the activity that is perceived in this realm, and we're making a false doer out of ourselves. So all this can happen because of a sort of mental Advaita. Why should I do the inquiry? I'm not the doer, so I'm just going to watch TV instead. But then that watching TV is also doing, isn't it? I am going to watch TV instead. It's like God would prefer to entertain itself with TV. By the way, I'm not saying anything about watching TV or not. I also watch quite a bit of TV. So I'm not talking about the activity per se. I'm talking about the position of individual doership can still be taken and applied very conveniently to that which can free us from this false sense of doership itself. The mind does not fathom neutrality. The mind only says, I'm either doing or not doing, which are both doing actually. Just like a desire and aversion are both desire. Is it? Want, don't want. Both are desire actually. In the same way, doing, or not doing, not. Just take a position of just holding a hand. Not doing. That's also doing, you see. So, because the mind does not fathom neutrality, therefore it makes the opposite of the seeming doing and says, okay, this is the non-doership. It is not that. Non-doership only means that I see that there is no person here anyway that is doing anything. All is happening naturally in the light of my being. It is seen as these words are spoken that there is nobody sitting here speaking them. They are arising on their own, with no individual doer of them. So it is not the stopping, not the doing of the stopping of activity. The mind can make this conclusion that the master said, you are not the doer, so now I'm just going to stop doing. But that is also a doing. The master is saying that you are not the doer because that which you consider yourself to be does not exist. Once you see this, that one does not exist, then you see that all is grace because the one that is presumably putting the effort in is the non-existent one. But this, to come to this recognition is what the inquiry is for. And the inquiry is a very simple thing. With integrity and earnestness, we are just looking at who I am. Who am I? That's all there is to it. It is not about coming to some special experiences. It is not about getting to any state. All that can happen or not. It's okay. Because many, I feel like, get attached to the byproducts of inquiry. And then feel guilty when they don't happen. There are many also who hardly did any inquiry, but spent a lot more time feeling guilty about not doing it. You see? So it is not even that. It's just honest introspection. Who am I? Not what state am I? Not what experiences I am having. Who am I? If it feels like the The whole universe has become a firefly in front of you. Yet the question remains, who are you? If it seems like you're beyond all limitations in space, and you can visit any realm you like, the question remains, who are you? If it feels like you've come to a state which is beyond Turiya, beyond the fourths, the question still remains, who are you that is beyond the states? So this is what I would suggest to most of you, which is that see that you are empty of all of this right now and remain in this motionlessness. If it feels like some motion is too strong, then use the tools of surrender or inquiry. And you will find that actually they are the same. And this is the main point. In your natural motionless existence, the truth of what you are is completely apparent, even though you might not have the notion of it. You might not have a concept of it, but the truth is true. And even when you do have a notion of it, concept of it, the truth is true, but you are playing with the mask of that which is false. Sometimes it might be better to read the transcript of the talk like this because a lot of things are said at a rapid pace. So sometimes it's good to go through the transcript slowly, read a couple of sentences, stay with them, read a few more, digest those. So the main question, the main inquiry or contemplation for today is my original self, my unchanging self. On which side of perception is it? On which side of perception is it? And am I looking for it on the right side? And just notice that your mind will resist this very strongly by saying, but on that side there's just nothing. There's just nothing. But it's not just nothing. It is the most pristine nothing. So don't, or it might give you some fear. Oh, but then you might lose your identity or your life will stop if you look there. All this is nonsense. Don't worry about it. Don't be scared to lift the veil of perception. Don't be scared to lift the veil of perception and see your non-phenomenal self. This seeing will be your only quality-less seeing. Okay. Nitya says, can I speak with you? Yes, my dear, you can come. Let me unmute your mic.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you... sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, my dear, I can hear you.
I just felt to come up. I don't actually know what to say at the moment. But it was... sorry, I just have a frog in my... I was inquiring a lot these days, and there's something seeming strange going on. I just want to speak it out somehow. But so when I'm inquiring, it's all good. I mean, it's very obvious and it's really straight to the point. What I very much like also is, and what came up, yes, this was what came up is when you said a couple of times you said also Ananta is a member of the Sangha, and I like that very much. And so when I'm inquiring, the position, I mean, you come to is very immediate. So it's clear who I am. And on the other side, what comes up now is this. It is about somehow I don't know if I find the words for this. The expression of the individual, or for example, I was inquiring about, there were panic attacks going on here and that kind of stuff, and and how to say that? It's so. And you know, when you're inquiring, you're just the panic attacks are just appearing in you, and it's very so. But at the same time, what came up was the story about the reason, the background of the panic attacks, yeah, and in a way that felt very releasing somehow and helpful also for this expression of the individual. You know what I mean? And there's just this somehow this something I don't find words for this. There's something I don't want to give that too much meaning. You know, it is a nice thing when it okay, yes, and you get a little more you're more compassionate for this expression, what is here for this, you know, and more love. You just, more love and compassion for this individuum somehow. And yet there's not really a yet or so, but there's something going on here, and I don't find words for this. You know, it's something energetical somehow. Yeah, I just want to speak that out. I think I have no idea. Yeah. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Very good to hear. I want to clarify a bit because for those who have not heard me say this, that Ananta is also a Sangha member. Maybe I can start by clarifying that a bit. And I feel like this relates very much to what you have said also. So this, it's a bit of a story, so please indulge me for 5 minutes. So this one, before he was even called Ananta, he got into spirituality maybe 20 years, about 20 years ago, and was involved in with various masters in various sanghas. And always this feeling was there. Oh, I wish I had been there right from the beginning, you know. I wish I had been there right from the beginning. Because some of the sanghas that I was a part of were very big. So you could not even hope to have a meeting like this on Zoom or sitting in a room like this and speaking. It's like thousands of people anytime we would meet. So then you feel like how beautiful it must have been when they just started. So this feeling can be there. Even when I met Guruji, actually, I felt like, wow, those lucky ones who met him in Brixton, you know. Why wasn't I in Brixton that time walking on the street and said, I feel something about you. You're not just a chai seller. You feel like you wanted to be that one. So, even with all of this, anytime you watch, I would watch a video of Papaji and feel like, why didn't I go to Lucknow those days? I went close to, Haridwar and places like that. Why didn't I ever go to Lucknow? So this kind of feeling can be there. Then just the other day, I said that actually, I always wanted to be a first Sangha member. And then I realized that actually I am. I am the first Sangha member of that presence now, this presence, which is the same Sadguru presence, which is using this body. So this outer coconut expression of Ananta has got that wish. He's become the first Sangha member of that unnameable Sadguru. So like that actually, and it's true for all of you. As you're in the play, of course, as your allegiance changes from this kind of allegiance to individuality, to the mind, and to the heart. Like Guruji says, the switch over of power from mind to being. Then the outer expression, that body mind will seem so intimate to you, then becomes the first Sangha member of this presence. The presence is one, but its expressions are many. And then you can see here that just like all Sangha members are treated with love and kindness, and then this one also deserves a love and kindness, this expression. So this journey of openness is a never-ending journey. I would be very wary of someone who says that they are 100% open. So this is a never-ending journey of openness, and many things that we noticed that we were unaccepting about this expression, this body-mind. It seems to be our shell, our coconut, as I call it, can also be allowed to be as it is, without so much benchmarking and without so much trying to live up to a certain standard or image. But this has to, what I'm saying, has to come from a very place of great integrity of presence. With very And it is true for all of you that you're finding that you're speaking from this integrity. Because many times it's like that, if somebody is coming first time to satsang, they can just hear these words and it can sound like, wow, this is a fantastic Advaita excuse. But where Nitya is speaking from, where these words came from here, from there we can trust this and say, yes, there can be a love and kindness even to this expression. And it doesn't have to live up to any special standard of freedom, something like that. It is very much related to what I've been saying about the insight that you're having. The insight that you're having is about this non-phenomenal self, that which can seem like, to put in worldly terms, we can call it the boundless ocean. And then we try to fill it into this body container and try to make this body live up to that insight. That is not needed. The coconut doesn't have to be filled with this ocean. It is just a wave on this ocean, just like all waves are. Thank you all so much for being in satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Keval. Love you, love you, love you all.